Good evening, class. Thank you once more for joining our classes, where we are discussing about God, where we are talking about the creator of the universe, where we are discussing about why we should thank God, why we should gratify, why we should have gratitude to the creator of the universe. So I just want to thank you so much, guys, for being in this journey where we are kind of playing a theodicy. Theodicy is defined as an attitude where people are defending the position of God in creation, where we are saying God does not make a wrong, and God can't be wrong. It's either we don't understand God because we fail to study God, or don't have enough knowledge to discern what He is doing. So our topic today is on science and gratitude. What does science say on gratitude? It's called the Hakarat, heart of in Hebrew. Some people will say, why are you saying Hakarat, heart of in Hebrew? We don't want Hebrew language. No, it's just like Shona. When I'm learning a language, I should speak it. So I just like someone is learning the Vele, someone is learning English. English is not my vernacular language, but I speak in English. I learned it, so I'm learning. So I can say Hakarat, heart of, meaning gratitude in Hebrew, because I'm learning it. So what does science say on gratitude, on thanking God? So first of all, we need to thank God and say, "Blessed are you, Kadosh Baruch Hu, the controller of the universe, our ruler of the world, who rewards undeserving people like us with goodness, and who has rewarded us again with all things that some of which we cannot see, but all those things will benefit humanity, will benefit us." So why is it that I was particularly interested in this topic? And I can say I became enamored of gratitude, and I embarked on a quest to thank every single person. So I was just looking at what was happening in my life, and said no. So I had a quest to thank every single person who had a role, every tiny role in making my cup of coffee, to thank the barista, the lawyers, to thank the farmer who grew up with farmers, the farmer who grew the maize, the truck driver who carried the maize to the GMB, who transported the coffee beans, the folks who built the road. And that's gratitude. The folks who built the road for us to have access to other places. Those guys who were digging the roads, those guys who were working for PTC, those guys who were working for DDF, District Development Fund, the people who painted yellow lines on the road in urban areas, and the truck drivers who would carry the trash to the depositing sites. I also thank my teachers. That's gratitude. What can I say? I can thank Mr. Gary Shoko. Mr. Gary Shoko in this lecture in Narare, who taught me how to drive. I started to learn about driving with this Isuzu. Mr. Gary Shoko, my best friend of all the time. I thank him so much because, I could not drive, where motorway when people could drive. But he gave me his Isuzu, the new Isuzu, to learn to drive. I thank him so much. So in this lecture, we want to thank God for everything. It's unfortunate when we were created as whiners. We would want to complain in everything. We're complaining, no, this thing's not working. Let's thank God. Let's appreciate God, man. So in short, a whole lot of people who have been my support structures, and with all such preponderances of earthly blessings promised in the Torah of Emet, people supported us. We just need to thank God to say, yes, we might, in as much as we are afflicted by problems, in as much as we don't understand the ways of God, but we should just thank Him. What can I say now? There's a research that was taken on gratitude, whether this research was whether gratitude can improve general well-being, or increase resiliency, or strengthen social relationships, and reduce stress and depression. So the more grateful people are, the greater their overall well-being and life satisfaction. So grateful people also have had a greater capacity for joy and positive emotions. So if you want to open yourself to healthy, get it right from me today. I'm not an authority, but I read about it. You need to open yourself to wealthy or to healthy and to good relationships. You need to start considering gratitude. Thank God for everything. For everything, even a thunderbolt, lightning. Don't complain. Say, I thank you. Lightning, the lightning bolt, but I'm still alive. So this research is the research was taken in the early 1990s. With one of the greatest medical research institutes, it was called the NANI study. NANI as in NU study. So some 700 nuns, all American members of the School of Sisters of Notre Dame in the United States, agreed to allow their records to be accessed and used by a team of researchers investigating the process of aging and Alzheimer's diseases. So they took that, they wanted to see if there was a positive correlation between being ungrateful and Alzheimer's. At the start of the study, these ladies were aged 75 to 102. So by annually assessing the nuns, these ladies, the current state of health, the researchers were able to test whether their emotional state in the 1930s had an effort on healthy some 6 years later. Because they had all lived a very similar lifestyle during these 6 decades, they formed an ideal group for testing hypotheses about the relationship between emotional attitude and healthy. The results were published in 2001. These results were startling. Because the more positive emotions, contentment, gratitude, happiness, love, and hope the nuns expressed in their autobiographical notes, the more likely they were to be alive well 6 years later. The difference was as much as 7 years in life expectancy to those who didn't have hope, who didn't have gratitude to God, and their physical. Those who didn't have hope and gratitude, their physical health deteriorated. So, but what are we saying? We are talking about gratitude, but it's stated in the Bible. So what medicine now knows about individuals? Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, our great teacher, spoke about it, about nations. Gratitude. Hakarat, heart of. So it's in the heart of the Bible. You have faith, you have hope, you have gratitude. You see? But the Jewish people were complaining. They complained about lack of food. They're complaining about water. They're complaining about manna. They complained about meat. They complained about vegetables in the desert, about dangers faced by them, by the Egyptians, by them. When they faced the Egyptians, they all complained. They were whiners. They lacked thankfulness during their difficult times. And what did God say? He said to Moses, no. I let me tell myself, I vow with myself, these people will never see Canaan because of whining, because of the levels they had in not gratifying and giving gratitude to God. A greater danger still, Moses would be a lack of attitude during the good times. A greater danger, Moses went to God to say no, but God said no, because they demon of disbelief, they will not go to Canaan. As it says in Deuteronomy, it's a Deuteronomistic verse that says, when you have eaten your fill and have built the fine houses and lived in them, and when your herds of cattle and flocks have multiplied, and your silver and gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, do not exalt yourself, forgetting the Lord your God, who brought you out of Mizraim, Egypt, out of the house of slavery. Don't say to yourself, my power and mighty of my own hand gained me this wealthy. I'm firm. I'm very firm, wealthy. I'm a famous young man because of, no, it's not you. Know that it's God. So gratitude is very important. There's a story that was told by my uncle, definitely, definitely Ntendi. He said, definitely, one day he said to me, Mash, the problem we have is some people have a negative mentality. When people have a poverty mentality or negative mentality, even in the midst of abundance, they'll find lack. In the midst of abundance, they'll find lack. Such people, they are not good. We need to give gratitude. You need to thank God, to be thankful to God always. So I've listed here some stories, to spice up, to broaden the horizons of how important is gratitude to God of whatever is happening in our lives. So I'll start with the parable of a lion and a crane. A crane is a bird like those storks, the white birds we have in the villages at home. They're called storks, those big white birds. So there was a lion and that crane, the crane, the big tall white bird. So a lion had been gorging on an animal he had killed. The lion was busy gorging an animal that he had killed. So when suddenly a small bone in the meat stuck in the neck, inside the neck of a lion, and he could not swallow it because there was a bone that had stuck inside the neck of the lion. So he soon felt a terrible pain in his throat because he swallowed this bone, so the bone was stuck in the throat. And he ran up and down, the lion groaning with the ferocity of a lion because it had swallowed. And seeking for something to relieve the pain. He tried to induce everyone he made to remove the pain, but it was very difficult. So he then thought of a plan to say, he played to say, I'll give you half of my kingdom if you remove the bone out of my throat. And all the animals were gathered. And the animals, animals, they know the lion. Animals know, they knew, even now, that the lion is sometimes very cunning. He would say, I will do this, and the lion would not honor the pledge, honor the vow. So all the animals were there. And they said themselves during their meeting, the animals were saying to each other, how can we help our king? What should we do? And all the animals, the way with their faces were downcast. We can't help the lion. We cannot do that. This man is dangerous. The king is dangerous. Until at last a crane agreed to say, and told the lion to lie upside down. The lion, so the crane, the bird, told the lion to lie upside down, and so that the long neck of the crane would reach the bone in the throat. So then the crane puts a long neck down the lion's throat, and with its beak, the mouth, loosened the bone and took it out of it gorged it out of the lion's throat. That's God. I'm talking about gratitude. Having to be thankful. And he pulled out the bone. Now, when all the animals ululated, the birds were flying there, and the monkeys were jumping from one tree to the other, the chimpanzees, the baboons were happy to say, let's see now if the lion can give you half of the kingdom, half of his kingdom. So, and the crane was happy, he said, will you kindly give me the reward you promised me, Mr. Lion, the king of the jungle, said the crane. So the crane. The lion grinned and showed his teeth and said, be content. Have you put your head inside the lion's throat, his mouth? You went deep in the throat, you went deep into my mouth, and he took out a bone out of me, and you came safely. That ought to be enough. You went inside me, and he took away a bone from my throat. You came out. It's clean. No wound. You should be thankful. Because I'm a lion, I'm the king of the jungle, I would have swallowed you. So you must be very thankful that you were in my mouth and I allowed you to be out. What more would you want? What kingdom is more than that? And the lion said, what does it benefit a man to gain the whole world and lose his life? I would have given you the whole world, like I promised. but you'd have lost your life inside me because you went in my mouth and you come out smart. So what's the problem? What's the problem? The same applies to us. The lion told the crane to be grateful, to have gratitude. And the lion said, the crane, the bird, go and thank God. You must be very grateful because you came in my mouth and you came out smart. What do we say? We live in this world, we live in this universe where there are problems and there are threats of death every day. Every day death is here. We are a second away from death. But we at the end of the day, we are all alive. We're not taken away by death. So why are you complaining? Why are you whining? Why are you complaining? We want to be happy. So that's the story, that we live in this universe, and every day there's a threat of death, but we are still living. God is protecting us. God is healing us. So why are we complaining? So that will take me to another story about a farmer who visited the sage, the rabbi, complaining that his house was too small. I live in a small house. I live in a ramshackle. The man can't stand all the noise of screaming of his wife and children. So he went to the rabbi to consult, what should I do? The rabbi tells the man to bring chickens to live with them in the house. The rabbi said, go and take chickens, put them in the house where you live. He said, no, but I'm complaining that I was small. How can I bring in chickens? The man was baffled. But what can he do? The next day, the man goes back to the rabbi to complain that the situation is deteriorated. The rabbi tells him to bring a goat. After the chicken said, "No, you said the noise." They said the situation has deteriorated. Noise was too much because of the chicken. He said, "Now bring the goat inside the house." And the goat was brought. Next time he said, "Bring the cow." Then the man reports that things were even worse. Things went from west to more west. Then finally, the Rebbe, tells the men to turn all the animals back to the yard, which was done. The next day, the men ran to the rabbi and said, "Rabbi, life is better now. Everything is, I took all the chickens out, the goats and the cows outside. I'm the happiest person now. I'm relaxed. And the best night ever." So the point of the story is, of course, is that we should focus on the things we have instead of things we want and things we don't have. Don't be frustrated with things that are not there. Let's do what we can and God will do what we can't. Let's have gratitude. Let's appreciate the things that we have. Let's be thankful to God for the things that He gave us. There's more to life than that. So we need to thank God. This guy is then said, "Rabbi, life is now, I'm living in a garden life. Life is more interesting now." So that's all about gratitude. We need to thank God that instead of complaining and whining, we are alive. You have your kids. At least you are alive. At least we are there. What proof is it that we are going to get what you want? Because you are still living. You are still alive. So the last story is about a teacher, a sage, whose livelihood was kind of difficult, and he went to a faraway place, away from his hometown, to find a job as a teacher. Then he was away from his family in about 2 years. So meanwhile, his wife and children lived the year without him, or 2 years without him, or borrowing and living on credit because he was away, like some of us. So this teacher was paid for services with coins. So the world people gave this teacher gold coins. The middle class paid the teacher with some silver coins, and the modest, close to poor, paid the teacher with copper and nickel coins. So it happened that the teacher had made a belt for himself, where he would put the various coins in different bags or different departments. So each bag carried a different type of coin. So one bag with 4 different bags or 3 different bags inside the big bag. So he had a bag for gold coins, and a bag for silver coins, and a bag for nickel coins, and a bag for copper coins inside one bag. So after those 2 years, the sage headed back home. So as the first, this guy was a church goer, so he saw a church, but it was on Shabbos. So he saw a church, and it's not allowed to, by the Hebrew standards, to move around on Shabbos, on Saturday, with a bag of coins, with money. So he said, let me give the money to the innkeeper. So as he was about to give his money to the innkeeper, the innkeeper had no, those locks to lock up his money. So he was about to say, I gave this money to this innkeeper, but he didn't show me a lock box to put the money. So now, praised with time, he grabbed the belt with the bags and said, no, it's okay. No, just leave it. And also he went to Shabbos, he went to the synagogue, so he was praying. But all this time, his heart was not in the synagogue. His heart was with the innkeeper. To say, I left the man with the innkeeper, and all the time he was thinking about his bag. So after the teacher, after this guy finished prayers, he went back to the innkeeper, and he said to the innkeeper, can you give me the money? Then the innkeeper brought the bag with gold coins and copper coins and opened the bag and said, here are your gold coins. They counted the gold coins together. The number was good. The copper coins were counted, good. The silver coins were counted, good. The nickel coins were counted. And now the sage said, the innkeeper said, why are we not counting the copper coins and the silver and the nickel coins? Because when you saw that your gold coins, I did not steal your gold coins, they were still there. And we counted the copper coins, and they will see the same number. What makes you think I would steal the nickel coins, which doesn't have value? When your gold coins are there and your copper coins are there, the same number, the same figure you gave me, $10 of gold coins, and when you gave me, there were $10 gold coins, $10 copper coins, and the rest. But now we counted the gold coins and we counted the copper coins. They are all the perfect. No one stole you. No one stole your money. Why are we counting? The innkeeper said, why are we counting the nickel coins, which are of less value? They're not. They are valueless. They don't have any value. Why are you forcing me to count the nickel coins? And the innkeeper said, there's no reason for us to count the nickel coins, because already when you have your gold coins, there's sure that your nickel coins are also there. This story is very important. The same applies with God and us. The gold coins we are given by God is life. Life is a gold coin. When you wake up in the morning and see that you have a gold coin, your life is there. The second thing about your life is you are healthy. So why are you worried about not having a job? Why are you worried about these other things? When you have woken up in the morning and discovered that you have a gold coin, you have a life, and discovered that you are healthy, why are you worried about lost God? Why are you stressed when you have a life, a gold coin, when we are healthy? Because many people spend the whole life, chasing the money. When they chase that money, after the rest of their lives, they are chasing for the money, pressing the money. When they would have grabbed the money, they used that same money to chase for health. They were chasing the money. And when they get the money, the body is exhausted. They have ill healthy. Now they use that money to chase for health. So what are we saying? We are just saying that we need to be thankful to God, just to appreciate God that we have a gold coin. The life that we have, our souls are still in our bodies. We are healthy. Another level of a coin, the copper coin. So why worried about a nickel? Why worried about a silver coin, which is useless? So that is what we have. That is what I have. The last story is about a foolish pooper. A foolish pooper is told in the Midrashi. This guy was once traveling along the road, carrying a bundle of his worldly belongings. A pooper, a lunatic. So as the beggar he was so tired. So he saw a car, a scotch cat, not a car, a scotch cat. And the scotch was already overtaking him. Then he said, yeah, whoop. And the driver, the scotch cat driver stopped. And a few minutes later, the nobleman said to the pooper, to the lunatic, the beggar, just jump in, my friend. And he jumped into the car. So the driver started to drive the donkeys. And a few minutes later, the nobleman turned around and saw the beggar sitting with his bundle. You know this story from, it was when I was doing grade 1. So he looked back and he saw the beggar sitting in his bundle, balanced precariously on his sagging shoulders. The beggar was still on his shoulders, somewhere here and somewhere on the head, but he was sitting in the cart. Then the donkey driver said, "My dear fool, you asked it. He asked this, you asked me, and I'm asking with a hint of concern. Why don't you put down your sack and rest up? There's plenty of space in this coach cart. Why are you doing that to me? Didn't I stop to help you?" The fool said, "Also, it is generous enough for you to give me a ride. I would not trouble your horses, who are surely overtaxed and overburdened, to carry my poor belongings as well." So you know the story. The dog driver said, "The silly young man," said the magnet, "don't you realize that even if you put the pack on your shoulders, it is still being carried by my carriage, by my scotch cart? Even if put down, my dogs will still carry it. There's a lot of space in the scotch cart. You fool, wake up." At times we are like that poor beggar. At times we are like that poor beggar, foolish carrying our worries, foolishly carrying our stresses, foolishly carrying our depression on our shoulders, stubbornly believing that we are actually making a difference. We are actually helping the donkeys. The donkeys, in this case, the universe. That's not like that. If we take a moment to recognize that God constantly carries the entire world, God constantly carries the entire universe, including our cares and concerns, we can relax our shoulders confidently and secure happiness, and secure midot, and secure gratitude. We need to relax and say God is carrying the universe on his shoulders. So why are you carrying your burdens? That's what the verse says. Take your burdens and pour them onto to the creator of the universe. All right, guys, thank you so much. So it was about gratitude and what science says about gratitude. The scientific, the science is science fact. These are facts. So thank you so much for this lecture on what science say on gratitude. Hakarat, heart of being grateful to the Lord for what he is. Understanding and knowing that he is the driver of the universe. He is the driver of the bus called the universe. We are just the passengers. The driver of the bus is class 2 license or class 1, whatever, I don't know the license. But he has been trained to drive. You are just sitting on the bus. You have faith on him that he will take us to our distances. He knows what he's doing. Thank you so much, guys, for coming to this lecture. We were gratifying and giving thanks to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, saying, as Theodis guys, to say, we thank you, Lord, and we know what you are doing. Even if you slightly lack that understanding, but we should be thankful to him to say, whatever God does for the best. Whatever God does for the best. And that's it. Amen, amen, and amen.